Let me take you back to the not-so-distant past, to a place where ancient history and modern ambition collided in a way that would shake the entire world. Picture Athens, a city that has stood for thousands of years, its streets echoing with the footsteps of philosophers, warriors, and dreamers. But in the early 21st century, those same streets would become the stage for a very different kind of drama, a financial crisis that would test the resilience of a nation and the unity of a continent. Greece, a country with ancient roots and a proud history, suddenly found itself at the epicenter of a financial earthquake that rocked the world. The story didn't begin with a bang, but with a slow, almost invisible buildup. For years, the world admired Greece for its culture, its democracy, and its role as the cradle of Western civilization. But beneath the surface, trouble was brewing. After restoring democracy in 1974, Greece was eager to leave behind decades of political turmoil and military rule. By the 1980s, joining Europe's economic club, the European Economic Community, which would later become the European Union, seemed like the perfect way to secure its place among modern, prosperous nations. The Greek people were hopeful, and the world watched as the country embraced a new era of opportunity and growth. But here's the thing. Behind the scenes, the Greek government was spending more than it earned. Year after year, budgets were stretched, and deficits quietly grew. The government borrowed to pay for public sector jobs, pensions, and ambitious infrastructure projects. It was a pattern that seemed manageable at first, but over time, the debt piled up quietly in the background, like a shadow growing longer as the sun set on Greece's economic stability. When it came time to join the euro in 2001, Greece faced a crucial test. The euro was more than just a new currency. It was a symbol of unity and trust among European nations. But to join, countries had to meet strict financial criteria. For Greece, the numbers didn't exactly add up. The government wanted to be part of the Eurozone so badly that it found creative ways to make its finances look healthier than they really were. Greece fudged its finances, hoping no one would notice. With the help of complex financial instruments and some creative accounting, deficits were hidden, and debt was disguised. For a while, it worked. Greece was welcomed into the Eurozone, and the country celebrated its new status as a modern, European nation. But the truth was lurking just beneath the surface, waiting to be discovered. Then came the 2004 Olympics, a moment of national pride as the world's eyes turned to Athens. The games were spectacular, a showcase of Greek culture and hospitality, but they were also incredibly expensive. Billions were spent on new stadiums, infrastructure, and security. When the crowds left and the lights dimmed, Greece was left with empty venues and a mountain of new debt. Just a few years later, the global financial crisis hit. Banks collapsed, economies faltered, and suddenly investors around the world were looking for signs of weakness. Greece, with its hidden debts and fragile finances, was exposed. The crisis didn't just hit the banks, it hit the streets as businesses closed and unemployment began to rise. Suddenly, everyone started asking questions about Greece's finances. International media descended on Athens, and the truth came crashing down. The numbers were far worse than anyone had realized. Years of overspending and creative accounting had caught up with the country, and the world was watching as the crisis unfolded in real time. The debt was bigger than anyone thought. International lenders who had once been eager to invest in Greece now panicked. The country's credit rating was slashed, and the cost of borrowing money skyrocketed. Suddenly, Greece was unable to pay its bills, and the threat of default loomed large. Borrowing costs for Greece soared to unsustainable levels. Banks faced runs as worried citizens lined up to withdraw their savings. ATMs ran dry, and the sense of crisis deepened. For ordinary Greeks, the fear was palpable. Would their savings disappear? Would the country be forced out of the Eurozone? In desperation, Greece turned to the European Union and the International Monetary Fund for help. The world's financial leaders gathered in Brussels, negotiating late into the night. The stakes were enormous, not just for Greece, but for the entire Eurozone. If Greece fell, would other countries follow? The bailouts arrived, but with strings attached, massive spending cuts, tax hikes, and what economists call austerity measures. These were tough pills to swallow. The government slashed pensions, cut public sector jobs, and raised taxes on everything from fuel to food. The goal was to restore confidence and reduce the deficit, but the pain was immediate and widespread. For everyday Greeks, life got a lot harder. The economy shrank, unemployment soared, and businesses closed their doors. Families struggled to make ends meet, and young people left the country in search of work abroad. The social fabric of Greece was stretched to the breaking point as hope gave way to frustration and anger. People took to the streets in protest. Syntagma Square, in the heart of Athens, became a symbol of resistance. Demonstrators clashed with police, demanding an end to austerity and a return to dignity. The world watched as Greece's political landscape shifted, and the old order was swept aside by new voices promising change. Politics shifted dramatically. New parties rose up, led by figures like Alexis Tsipras, who promised to fight the harsh conditions set by international lenders. The old political establishment was challenged, and the country was plunged into a period of uncertainty and upheaval. The struggle wasn't just about economics, it was about national identity and the right to determine Greece's own future. Even after 3 massive bailouts, Greece's debt remained huge, and trust was in short supply. The country's relationship with its European partners was strained, and many Greeks felt betrayed by a system that seemed to demand endless sacrifice without offering real hope for recovery. But here's why this matters to the rest of us. Greece's crisis exposed big cracks in the Eurozone's foundation. The idea of sharing a currency without sharing financial rules or responsibilities turned out to be risky business. The crisis forced European leaders to confront difficult questions about solidarity, sovereignty, and the future of the euro itself. Sharing a currency without sharing financial rules. That's risky business. The Greek crisis showed that economic integration without political and fiscal unity can lead to disaster. It was a wake-up call for Europe and for the world about the dangers of ignoring underlying problems until it's too late. The Greek default in 2012 wasn't just the biggest in history, it sent shockwaves through global markets. Investors everywhere reeled as the value of Greek bonds plummeted, and fears of contagion spread to other vulnerable economies. The crisis forced everyone to rethink how countries handle debt and whether the global financial system was as stable as it seemed. Even now, Greece's story isn't over. The scars of the crisis are still visible in the streets of Athens, in the faces of those who lost jobs, homes, and hope. But there is also resilience, a determination to rebuild, to learn from the past, and to chart a new course for the future. The debt is still massive, and the world is watching. Every decision made in Athens is scrutinized by investors, politicians, and ordinary people across the globe. Greece's fate is a reminder that in our interconnected world, the problems of one nation can quickly become the problems of many. But maybe the biggest lesson is this: when you put off tough decisions, the problems only get bigger. Ignoring warning signs, hiding the truth, or hoping that tomorrow will be better without real change. These are mistakes that can bring down even the proudest of nations. The Greek crisis is a cautionary tale for governments everywhere, and sometimes a modern nation can fall just as hard as the empires of the past. The ruins of ancient Greece stand as a silent witness to the rise and fall of civilizations. Today, they remind us that history has a way of repeating itself, and that the choices we make now will shape the world for generations to come.